Today is a really big day.
The decks of this boat have been a massive ongoing project. They're getting closed up, they're getting waterproofed again, and they're getting built back up differently in a way that will make sure these problems don't occur again.
But it's just such big jobs, they always... I don't have the right words, but they put you on hold for a moment.
What's the temperature read?
Bare minimum accepted.
Let's go.
Really challenging.
Okay, we tried. No, it's okay.
Good morning. So I've started laying out the glass after wiping everything down with acetone, of course. I'm Aladino and we're doing an intense refit on a Cape George Cutter 36. So these cutters were mainly built in the 70s and 80s, also through the 90s, but we have one of the earlier builds. And they are pretty much 50% fiberglass, 50% wood. It's a fiberglass hull, but everything else is built like a traditional wooden boat. We had to rebuild the decks, replace a few beams, replace all the blocks, along with everything else you do when you do a refit. A repower needs a new engine, needs a new electrical system, new plumbing. Those are kind of like just the cherries on top. And we are also rebuilding the interior. Today is a really big day because we've already come far along. We've closed the deck and today we plan on fiberglassing over them.
So this is actually a very big moment in the story of this boat. The decks of this boat have been a massive ongoing project. It all started with the bulwarks, of course, when those rotted, and then that rot spread down to the decks and down to the deck beams and to the blocking below. And actually to the balsa insulation as well. So all of the problems that this boat has had kind of have stemmed from these decks. And after many months of rebuilding them, they're getting closed up. They're getting waterproofed again, and they're getting built back up differently in a way that will make sure these problems don't occur again. And it's very exciting.
Now the side decks are a no more walking zone without Tyvek suit that has been sanitized. No, not quite that much, but trying to keep it clean. Temperature is critical, so we need to warm up the area. I have a radiator inside the boat. The boat is closed everywhere as much as we can, so the side decks are warming up a little bit. I actually took temperatures and it is indeed working. We are at the minimum possible temperature at the moment and it's gonna get higher as the day goes on. Today's a little warmer. That's what even made us think about tackling this job. It's not as warm as I would like it to be, and yeah, I'm slightly nervous. The most critical reason why we want elevated temperatures is because epoxy becomes more liquid when it is warmer. And when it's colder instead, it's more honey-like and you cannot get it to soak the fiberglass.
What's the temperature read?
Bare minimum accepted.
Which is what?
55 Fahrenheit, 12.2 Celsius. Well, this is exactly where the heater is in the boat. So as you can see, here's the hottest, 13, because the heat rises, of course, but there's some on the side decks, which is really good. And then as I move away from the heater, it's getting slightly colder, but still pretty good specs. What are you doing here? Excuse me, sir. Do you have an invitation?
Is it a little bug?
What do you call it again when there's the bugs in the resin?
Huh?
And then it's actually an expensive piece of jewelry.
Or like those amber stones.
Yeah, exactly. We embed a bunch of insects in our fiberglass work.
Let's not.
Is it gonna raise the price of our boat?
Oh no, did you find a greeble? Oh no, not the greeble.
This morning I'm still going to cut out the last few pieces of glass. When I do this, I try to be very careful to leave the fibers laying as they are stitched together. If one is a little violent or the scissor sticks in and you tear, it changes the whole shape of the fabric. So yeah, care must be taken. Is there a step where I don't say this? It was like working with pizza dough. Maybe I should try.
Like when you get the pizza al metro.
Yeah, maybe I should try swinging pizza dough. In my next life.
So it is just winter time right now, and today was forecast to be a warmer day than the other ones that we're having. But it is still pretty chilly, and yeah, I guess that is a concern. But it's still morning, it'll keep warming up, and hopefully the heaters will be enough. We are a little bit power limited out in this shed, actually. Like we can't run 2 heaters at once while also vacuuming. Like we have to sort of juggle things around.
And as soon as we're done working with epoxy, then we will move one heater up here, tent off the top, and get some heat going.
Yep, that's the plan. Please warm up, please warm up.
Just such big jobs, they always I don't have the right words, but they put you on hold for a moment. They just are big moments and big tasks, and there is things to go wrong, and it's a very huge job to undo it if it goes wrong. But
what could go wrong?
Oh, just temperature and air bubbles and dry cloth and shifting cloth and not laying how it should, all of those things. But I am confident I've done this enough. I just have to start and do it, and afterwards is all good. But the moment before it's actually done is always quite stressful.
Okay, so I will mix some epoxy right now, and then you add filler to it.
Sure.
And then I'll mix another bucket of epoxy.
Cool.
Okay.
So we will be using the 2-to-1 high performance total boat epoxy. For big jobs like this, we like to use the slow hardener. That really gives a lot of time to do the job from beginning to end, with capping it off with peel ply.
It's crazy when you're doing a big job like this how much you second guess things that you definitely know how to do. Like, I have mixed gallons of epoxy, but now that it like really matters, I'm like double checking everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I putting 2 of the resin and 1 of the hardener? And
well,
like,
that's what I was trying to put into words before too.
Yeah.
Exactly, because it's a big task.
yeah. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. And these decks are already epoxied, right?
Yeah, except this section here.
Oh, right.
The fiberglass is quite a heavy gauge. That's what is recommended for this job. But of course, the thicker the glass, the more wetting out capabilities you need from the resin. Challenging the temperature. It's not that cold, but you see how it's not absorbing readily.
Okay, well, what can we do? Should we...
Well, either we interrupt the whole thing and do it again in a month, or we just gotta be more patient, because it's getting there, and we do have enough working time.
Should we pause and put up the plastic roof and get the heater up on deck?
So we started rolling the epoxy and wetting out the decks, and it wasn't quite what I was hoping for. The fiberglass isn't absorbing the resin well. There is a few tricks. You can apply heat, of course. So Maya grabbed the heat gun and started warming the surface from above. That hopefully would make the epoxy more liquid and make it seep through. But at this point, it also started to cure, so it just was a massive failure throughout.
Okay, we tried. No, it's okay. And now we've got all the glass prepared. We'll just have to redo this one square.
Yeah.
We could potentially still do this today. But no, what we would have to do is we would have to create the tent and have a heater in here. I think we can heat this adequately.
Everything is ready now, but the weather just isn't cooperating yet, so that is really, really frustrating. The fiberglass is all laid out. Putting it away, folding it up, creates wrinkles, and it messes it up over time. But Maya pointed out that we could build a tent overhead to keep in the warmth, so yeah, she motivated me to keep at it. Did we already flip this one too? We should have built the tent from the beginning and not just rely on ambient temperature.
All right, day 2 and take 2 with a lot of changes. We now have the big plastic tent. We have 3 heaters running up there. So everything's self-contained, heating up. Aladino's doing some prep while we let the heaters just keep warming it up in there. And hopefully this will be successful today.
Second piece of glass ready.
All right, so I think the moment has come. It is warm in here actually, so that has worked. And hopefully the rest of this works.
Maya is mixing the epoxy resin, and meanwhile I am applying it. When fiberglassing things like this, there is one thing known as the wet layup and one that is known as the dry layup. The dry layup, as the name suggests, means that you put the fiberglass on top of whatever you are doing and then you start wetting out from the top. The other option is you wet out the substrate, in our example the decks, first, and then you put the glass on top of that, and then you continue wetting out, and that helps the process. Now the dry layup is much easier, because you lay out the fiberglass perfectly where you want it to be, and then you start wetting out. The wet layup is a little more difficult. It doesn't work well when it's big pieces of fiberglass, because once you lay the glass on top of the epoxy, it's very hard to shift it, and too much shifting can cause the fibers to lose their shape. So I tried to be careful. I did a bit of a mix of both, because the wet layup just promotes soaking all the fibers through, because you're tackling them from two sides. But it's quite tricky to do so on big pieces of fiberglass. It was a hugely uncomfortable process, but yeah, I've done this before, I can do it again. After glassing, I applied peel ply. It will protect our fiberglass for weeks to come that we walk on it. When applying peel ply, I try to be as conscious as possible of how I fold it up and how I lay it out, because you want to avoid wrinkles, and it does stick to the epoxy quite well, so you can't shift it much afterwards. So it's really about the unfolding and placing it in the correct place, so that you have to do minimal adjustments to get the wrinkles out. You want it to lay as flat as possible. As uncomfortable as it is, I am happy to say that it is going really well, so we're just gonna steam through this and try to finish it all.
Yay! Over half the boat done!
After doing the side decks and having come up with a method that worked best there, I came to the bow, and that presented its new challenges. It's a much bigger surface, it's a much bigger area, and it was harder to do than the side decks.
Aladino,
Yeah,
how's it going?
I divided the side decks, which was good. I should have divided the piece up here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the overlap is too big.
The slow epoxy really saves the situation, because it gave me enough time to wet out from different sides and then still fold, unfold, and lay the fiberglass how I wanted it to lay.
Aladino has built some scaffolding to get the peel ply on.
Yep.
Man, this is a marathon, Dean.
Yep. You can call me Iron Man any day.
Okay.
After the bow was done, it was only going to be one more side deck, which I knew already how to tackle, so determination was high to rush to the finish line.
And in case you've never been in one of these, it turns you yourself into a greenhouse. So it's pretty sweaty in there.
We're on the final piece now! We didn't even eat lunch today.
No, we totally forgot. Well, not forgot, but...
It just couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Gotta keep that wet edge.
Exactly.
Woo! You're a hero, Aladino!
Oh, you are.
for tomorrow. Good morning.
Good morning.
Have you gone to look at it yet?
No, I'm just
Cleaning up from the wreckage of last
after
night.
the storm, yeah.
We were so done. We did not clean anything up
Totally.
last night.
I'm still sore and we slept in today.
Yeah,
It's a big mission.
it really was.
So yeah, I'll do a lot of cleaning today in inventory.
Yeah,
And like peel ply, that was the end of the roll, stuff like that.
yeah,
Get organized again. But
Yeah.
we did it.
we did it. All right, let's go have a look.
Let's go.
I mean, it's going to look the same. It's just hopefully going to be hard.
I wouldn't walk on it too much yet.
No. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
It looks the same as last night,
Boring.
but it's hard now. Yay.
With peel ply, man, did it.
Nice. Holy, this is a big moment in the project. Did it cure everywhere?
Yeah, on short inspection, yes.
There's always a fear, whether warranted or not, that like maybe I mixed the wrong ratios, or maybe I poured in 2 parts of hardener and 1 part of epoxy, or like did something silly like that. Well, no, but I don't think I did.
I know.
But especially when it's like been such a long day and I literally mixed like, what did we go through? 3-4 gallons of epoxy. That I was like, oh, maybe one batch will be wrong or something, but it so far looks okay.
Yeah, totally. It does.
Yeah.
So we've also decided to go ahead and just do it now, because this allows us to start playing with the bulwark material. And instead the cabin sides and the cabin top are not that urgent, and that can totally wait for better temperatures. But yeah, starting on fitting the bulwarks will be a nice additional thing that I can work on here and there. I can't believe we did this all in one day. That was quite the fiberglassing marathon, and I'm very proud of us. All in all, I'm really happy now that we pushed forward. I admit, after the defeat, it was really hard to gather the power. Thank you, Maya, for kicking my butt to get this done. I'm really happy now, and yeah, that beer is gonna taste really good.
Thank you everyone for watching. We really appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed the episode, please do leave us a thumbs up and tell us what you thought in the comments section. We do read all the comments. Subscribe to the channel, press the notification bell. Every single Friday there's a new episode updating you on what's happened over here in the boat shed. If you really enjoyed the episode, please consider becoming a patron. This whole project is completely audience funded, which is one of the biggest reasons why we are able to not do any ads in the channel. And it's all because of our incredible audience supporting the channel. And that can really mean a lot of things. Patreon is completely flexible with how you donate, so it can be $2 a month. It's entirely flexible when you sign up. And in exchange, we post real-time updates every single Tuesday or Wednesday, sort of depending how the week is going, but Tuesday or Wednesday there will be a real-time update that is never published anywhere else. So yeah, I think that's it from us. Thank you again, and back to work now. We'll see you all next week.